I don't know if they negotiated it. I didn't think any of us think it was going to happen, but pretty sure Ed hits Brad in the ear. They really did Fight Club for a moment there in Fight Club. Not what I would have recommended if I was stunt coordinating, but I was just a new guy on the set. Turned out great though.
Could I take?
Hi, I'm David Leitch, and I'm the director of Bullet Train. I'm here to break down the action sequences from my previous films. I was a stuntman for so many years, and a fight choreographer and an action designer. And as I got more into creating these elaborate action scenes where I'm taking over a big chunk of the movie and driving the narrative forward, I wanted to stretch my wings and see if I could tell that story from beginning to end. A scene from one of my first films that I co-directed with the amazing Chad Stahelski, John Wick. So I think the great thing about this sequence was 99% of this is Keanu. That helps us shoot these long takes, and you'll notice the photography is long and we're not cutting that much. It was a choice for this sort of dramatic lighting to add to the tension in the scene. But there is a point where this type of lighting, which can be oversaturated, you can lose the choreography. We were really careful in the mix that we had. We wanted to make sure you still understood moves were happening, felt the drama within the choreography, but this extra layer was being effective in an unnerving way. You know, you're feeling the tension that John's feeling. So you see these moments, making sure you come back to the actors. Sometimes these are the most important moments for me. The reaction of the bad guy, making a decision to do something diabolical, the intent of John to finish this fight. Never leaving the character alone too long where I don't feel stakes. So that stunt, a couple things going on. We had him on a wire assist, so there's a little bit of decel in his fall. And the floor, we had cut out a section of the floor and made a padded floor. It was seamless with the regular floor. And we're ramping the speed just slightly to create the illusion of full gravity. So this is a scene from Fast and Furious, Hobbs and Shaw. Everything was on the table to make these sequences what they were in Hobbs and Shaw. Every trick of the trade. So that shot, this is backlot Universal, tying into footage that we shot in Scotland for London. When you make these big, epic action movies, it's hard to find streets and long places to lock down and do things safely and securely at speeds. You sometimes have to piecemeal these scenes together and bring the illusion to life that it all happened in one location. That medium shot was shot on a rig where the bike is off the ground. This is now the bike on the ground. This is practical.
Might be time for some cows.
So that is some visual effects enhancement. We had a proxy dummy that we were holding outside of the car, and then we added animation. The great artists at Double Negative helped us with this sequence and did some great stuff.
Want to tell me just what in the fresh turkey hell we're dealing with here?
Long story.
So you get fresh turkey hell, there's probably 12 other improvs on the cutting room floor, and to do that while on a trailer in real traffic with a limited time, it wouldn't be feasible. You had to shoot that on a stage. You really, to get the performance and the number of takes you want, to get the timing right, we prefer to do that on a stage and comp in the backgrounds with great visual effects. Pretty cool. I'm just saying, it's pretty cool. So the car's practical, sliding through the intersection, real plate photography. The trucks, we shot multiple passes of the trucks in different configurations, but then the element of the motorcycle, because of its transformer sort of aspect, was all completely virtual. So it is a sort of a bit of a science project. And like I said, there's incredible practical stunts in this. But when you're working on a movie like Hobbs and Shaw, where you're defying physics and that's the universe, it's really fun to play with the visual effects to this level. They can be anywhere between, 30 to 60 miles an hour. We're not going 100, and a lot of it is because not that the drivers aren't skilled, it's just you run out of bandwidth in the places that you can lock down. You do feel speed in camera, so it's important that you have a level of real practical speed, but there's a point where it's diminishing returns on what you're photographing and how much distance you have to shoot it. The thing I like about that sequence the most for me as a choreographer is like, you understand what's happening. You really understand the geography, but it still has the speed that you expect for these types of set pieces. This is one of my favorite sequences, and it's the stairwell fight. There's a lot of old school stitches, like in-camera cuts, where we're matching frames, we're whipping and connecting things, using wipes in front of the foreground. And the idea was to build tension and stay with Lorraine Broughton. Training is so important to be able to do these long pieces of choreography, and having a great stunt team that can be there to support the actor and take up the dead spots. Cut. Another cut. Cut. But those are all old school cuts. There's no visual effects enhancing them. It was great as a director to be able to hang the scene on an Academy Award winning actress. We had 6 weeks with Charlize training, 4 or 5 days a week. Them putting in the time and the work ethic to be able to have the stamina to do this is incredibly impressive. Even though there are these little stitches, you have to remember they're doing this all day long. There might be 4 or 5 takes of that other stitch. Then they have to show up and regain the energy for the next setup that I'm gonna have to do 4, 5, 6, 7 takes because I'm that big of a jerk. For years, I've been wanting to do this type of scene. As a choreographer, I had shot stunt viz of this type of scene for multiple movies and pitched it to different directors before I was directing. For whatever reason, it never landed. So then when we're doing Atomic Blonde, Kelly McCormick, my creative producer, my partner, my wife, was like, you should do The Oner. This is the perfect movie for it. She's a protagonist in peril, and if you stay with her, you can, basically hang the scene on her and feel stakes the whole time. And I was like, that's a great idea. So I went to the stunt team, and they were like, we're never gonna be able to pull it off. Like, how do we do this? And I just challenged them. I'm like, get in there, start digging into the choreography. I'll be back. Then it was a long process. A couple months of pre-production, figuring out all the stitches we would need. This is an action scene from Deadpool 2. What I like about this scene is we have multiple characters, and sometimes in action, intercutting between characters actually builds up tension, and it's a really great way to get to the highs quicker. So you don't have to have the shoe leather for the dynamics of the sequence. You can actually have more punctuated beats because you're intercutting between characters.
Give me back my skee-ball token.
Working with Ryan on Deadpool 2 is like a masterclass in comedy. He improvises, but he also has a lot of alts and ideas. He thinks about the scene, and he has his list in his pocket of things he wants to try. And so it's even more methodical at times, stacking up the jokes for the edit.
Ooh, somebody knows karate.
So this was actually a part of additional photography. Cable and Deadpool had a little bit more tension, so we extended the fight in additional photography, and the stunt team came up with this great idea of spoofing the original carnation of Deadpool. And so again, you don't know where the great ideas are gonna come from. Oftentimes they come from the stunt team. Generally, at some point in the scope of the whole movie, the choreography team that I have built for this movie plays a role. They're usually one bad guy in one scene. So a lot of times there are people that are working on the choreography with the actors anyway. And so there's also that trust that's built in, which provides a security and a comfort so we can really go for it when we're on set. Here's a fight in the concession car with Brad Pitt and Aaron Taylor Johnson on Bullet Train. It's all about the timing. To get the joke to work in a fight scene, We did grift from the best. We were really inspired on Bullet Train by Jackie's movies and his comedic timing. So there's a lot of physical comedy built into the fight sequences. The process with all of these fight scenes is to work with the stunt team. So there's a group of 5 or 6 who come in, the key choreography team, and we start to play. And we know where we want to go in this fight scene, and we know we have some funny moments we're trying to achieve. And we'll actually shoot what we call stunt viz. So we'll actually shoot and edit the fight scene in the soundstage with cardboard boxes as sets. And, you know, a lot of times you can see our past fight viz and you can see how close it is to actually how we end up doing it. I remember seeing the stunt guys deliver this first piece of choreography to me, and I was really laughing.
Oh, I would love a bottle of water. That's the one. Thank you.
Hold it, hold. Uncomfortable beat.
Not particularly, no.
Okay.
You can even see how the music comes in to punctuate the comedy and how the sound effects come in to punctuate the comedy. So a rule of 3 on the button. So we're setting up the stakes. It's like 1, oh, is he gonna get it? 2.
I know killed the kid.
Yeah, where is he then?
He's on this train.
Well, that narrows it down.
And boom. And so you feel the escalating stakes in the choreography. You want to do that when you're building a fight. It's arcing. Starts out at a certain level, and it builds to the trailer moment that you're going to get from that set piece. We do a lot of things that have the illusion of danger. They're not comfortable, but they are not dangerous per se. So Brad did 99% of his own stunts, but that moment where he were smashing the safety glass, which is tempered glass, that moment is Kyle, the stunt double. And because of the great angles from yours truly, the illusion's never broken. Then there's the shot where Brad is being sat down into the chair. There's still rubber glass being thrown by special effects. It's a combination of safety glass that's tempered, that has laminate on it, effects throwing rubber glass into the air, using the stunt double for the few frames that you need that stunt double, and then bringing the actor back into the action at the perfect moment.
I want everybody out of here right now.
Hey, you should join our club.
So this was actually a really important time for me as a stunt performer. I had been working on television shows like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Martial Law with Sammo Hung, but I had never really gotten a chance to work on a big Hollywood movie. And I was hired to be one of the fight trainers / choreographers on Fight Club. Although there's not a lot of fighting, David Fincher's idea was that we could train the actors in combat and choreography so they could do a lot of this stuff safely.
You hear me now?
No, I didn't quite catch that, Lou.
So oftentimes, this is Brad, or is this me? I'm not sure. This might be me, actually. So oftentimes when you're over the shoulder of a punch, you might put the stunt double in to get a reaction. But that's Brad. What was great about Brad is he's super physically talented. He took to action very quickly, and especially the fighting sequences. So as much as I got to train him and choreograph stuff and teach him, he would do most of it because he could.
I got it. Shit, I lost it.
Back! Volume!
Fight scenes don't have to be big or long. They just need to learn something about this character. And now we know something about Tyler Durden by the end of this thing, and it's punctuated with physicality.
Oh, that's right, Luke. Get it out.
Oftentimes, the classic punch in a movie is going across the face like that. Or you're seeing the head of an actor here and you're seeing the punch go that way. He wanted these direct punches, but depending on where the camera is, it's really hard to sell. So you have to have a lot of trust in somebody that they're gonna put it right there and stop it within an inch, as opposed to when you're doing the big swing and you're gonna have a foot of distance and the camera's stacked. So that was what was really sort of interesting about this. A lot of times you might even be doing over-the-shoulder stuff because there's so many head snaps, and after 25 takes of head snaps, you know, you're giving yourself whiplash. Really, it is sort of like the art of taking a punch. You don't really want to like subject your lead actor to that too many times because they got to go on and shoot the rest of this movie. But Brad, he's the champ. I think the thing that I sort of reflected on is that when you're a stunt performer, you're helping an actor physically create a character that supports a movie. Training him, propping him up, doing things if they really hurt, something like that. And so Brad and I did that for 4 movies. 20 years later, we come full circle, and one of the best actors of our time is now building one of his iconic characters to support my movie. And I think that that's a really special thing, and I don't think it happens that often. I think we all feel really lucky to have found this movie together and get a chance to reunite and make something so fun. I'm really proud of this body of work, and I really want to give it out to the stunt crews and the fight design teams that I came up as a part of for 20 years and how they really impact movies. Whether it's a drama or a comedy or a thriller, you couldn't have those movies without the stunt crews that are designing this action. My work, hopefully, is a love letter to them because it's my roots and it'll never leave me as a filmmaker. So there'll always be action.